Welcome to Red City. In the top right corner of the map is the Blue Protoss from Invictus Gaming. Give it up for MacSed. And in the bottom right, his teammate, his friend, his fellow Protoss. It is Jim. Doesn't Jim remind you of a Chinese version of Mario?
Yes.
I would definitely design an entire game series around Jim as well. Let's talk a little bit about Red City and PvP implications, Andre. How much have you been able to hit this on ladder? I know I vetoed this map.
I vetoed this map as well.
But that's just because I've been playing Zerg, so it's not a fun experience. Do you have any experience playing PvP on Red City?
I do have a little bit. I mean, Blink Stalkers are okay to start out with. You can see this little tiny area, which is the most accessible place to get from, I guess, the outside into the main base. Definitely makes things hard because think, I can blink up, and it's so easy to come in and force seal this ramp. So if you don't have something like Colossus, which don't really exist in the early game of PvP, you obviously are in a lot of hurt. From that, of course, Dark Templars are definitely a great option always. There's a lot of area that you have to defend this open main base. So I would say Twilight Council play is definitely some of the strongest things that you can do on this map. Stargate play is alright, but it's nowhere near as good as something like Blink Stalkers, just because of the amount of pressure you can put on your opponent, the amount of time you can keep your opponent inside their base if they're doing a non-Blink Stalker or non-Twilight Council build.
It's so interesting because as we see the builds develop from both players, it just feels very similar in almost every regard. And I was talking to MacSed as the day began, and MacSed was saying how him and Jim, they share builds, they come up together with solutions, and it just feels like they come to very similar conclusions, except for when they actually start deviating in the mid game. But almost everything down to the gas timings, how many probes are in each gas, and even down to the very units that make it feels very similar. And I just want to see, is MacSed going to be able to back up what he says when he beats Jim nonstop in practice, and Jim can't do anything against him?
Yeah, it's really kind of interesting, right? Because both of you kind of know what each other are doing, you actually get into this phase where it's like, well, I know what you're doing. You know what I know what you're doing because we practice together. So how do you actually change it to take advantage? And it's like a rock, paper, scissors, right?
Yeah, exactly, and that's what makes it very interesting, and sometimes you get games that don't necessarily apply to normal logical metagame because people try to counter each other so much. But until then, we'll keep a close eye on seeing what our first choice tech route is. Like you said, Andre, Twilight can be pretty good on this map. I mean, in general, it just seems like every tech choice can be pretty decent on this map as well, in my opinion.
We'll see.
There's a lot of room for Stargate.
I would say the standard is like a 2-gate Twilight Robo, something like that. But no, Stargate, a delayed Stargate too, coming out from Jim, so changing it up quite a bit. The reason why it's kind of astonishing, really, is because he's gone 3 Stalkers and then he goes to the Stargate. It's so delayed. So you're really asking yourself, what is he going to get? Is he going to get a quick Oracle? Well, it's not that quick. Is he going to get a lot of Phoenixes? He might be build order counted very fast. Wow.
MacSed does end up getting the jump on Jim, but the DPS from Jim's Mothership Core has also kind of turned the tides of the battle, and now a Time Warp will allow Jim to catch one or more of the Stalkers. And now MacSed is still kind of in an awkward situation. Does manage to get a good force field to lock down one of the Stalkers as well. In the end, it seems that Jim got the better trade, and he gets the scout off.
Wow.
As well as a sentry. Very good job from Jim thus far.
So 3 Stalkers in the Mothership kill 1 sentry and 3 Stalkers so far. Really ridiculous. And now forcing out another sentry. That's actually very brutal. The fact that you need to go that extra sentry just means you're taking away. It could have been 2 Stalkers. Could have been faster tech. So many different options. The first Oracle is on the way out, and guess what? I don't think Jim has actually warped in any more units. Just 2 Stalkers right now on the map. Oh, MacSed able to see that.
That's right. MacSed walks the probe right in, sees a Stargate, and drops a Robo in response.
No, he didn't see it. I'm sorry. We know that he could have seen it, but he definitely didn't see it. No. Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's easy to confuse, Andre. Don't worry about it. And I like that MacSed was taking the safe response as well, dropping the 3rd gate just in case Jim was going to go for a 3-gate pressure. Responding very well instead of going for a 2-gate expand right off the bat and being a little more stubborn. MacSed's playing more safe this game.
Yep. Phoenix is coming on out from Jim. Wow, look at this. Up to 3 sentries here. This is kind of unconventional. Of course, you were saying in PvZ how frustrating it is as Zerg to actually go against Protoss because of the very tight corridor. So this could actually play into MacSed's favor if he wants to engage very early on. Obviously, the force field's going to be a very clear way to sculpt the battle.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm sorry about cutting you off. I do feel like it's very interesting to see how MacSed approaches PvP, because he does seem to be more of the robo-based player, even back when he was playing against Puck. Earlier in WCS America, MacSed was going double robo on 2-base, going for Colossus. While it seems like Jim is a little bit more of the new influence, going for Void Rays, which seems to be the recent flavor of the month in terms of PvP. Ooh. And I like how Jim's continue to harass him, just trying to be in the face of MacSed while getting good information.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned that, because that's definitely something we have to keep in mind. I mean, Colossus heavy, how does it do against that Immortal Archon type of style? And I would say it comes down to a lot of position. Now, on this map, Fernando, what would you say? Would you say Colossus is a lot better or Immortal Archon?
Again, I would have... It depends on where you choose to engage.
Yeah.
There's just so many tight ramps. It's really hard to go across. Archons are so clunky, and Immortals are really clunky, but so are Colossi. So in the end, I just make Void Rays on this map. Which
just
is a pretty good choice.
Now, Void Rays actually work out pretty well, too, and that's part of the composition of the Immortal Archon newer style, as you were saying. Definitely always a great choice, right? I mean, they're able to pick apart Colossus and armor units so easily.
Very nice. Very nice. Picking off 2, maybe even 3 sentries. Jim has completely disarmed MacSed with just an Oracle and 2 Phoenixes. He did sacrifice the Oracle, but picking off the 3 sentries is very nice.
Yeah. And from here, I mean, the sentry definitely helps out. Remember, when you go this style, in the very beginning phase, before you get your Archons out, or any massive units out, I should say, because the Robotics Bay is coming down, those sentries are empowered. They give you the timings that a lot of times you die to. So removing the sentries out of the field right away helps out so much, and just knowing, hey, I am absolutely safe, because if you attack me, you're going to have to warp in fresh sentries. That's very expensive and shuts down a lot of your aggression, or you're just going to have to eat my force fields, and I will have the favorable engagement.
And now, Jim's going to transition and go into Colossus Void Ray, which is a very interesting mix, because it's extremely expensive to go off 2 base. It's almost, that those 2 units combined, it makes you very poor. You can really afford maybe a couple of Stalkers in addition to that. Meanwhile, MacSed seems to be favoring just a lot of upgrades. He's going to go for the +1, use his gas that way, and which is very big on the Colossus with the AoE. So. They're just going to power up for a while, and I don't expect any aggression out, so we might be in for a couple of minutes of waiting here.
Yeah, both of them have very, very close stuff.
Oh my goodness. Again, picking off another sentry.
Punishing for such a lack of anti-air. Wow, that's actually going to affect him really terribly as soon as the Void Rays actually enter the field, because that's the big opportunity cost, you would say, between both the players. You have Void Rays instead of Stalkers, and Void Rays obviously are about 3 Stalkers worth of gas. Just that difference alone, we'll see if it actually matters. I think the Void Ray choice is much, 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 much better. And here we have it, Jim, his patented aggression. He loves to push out, get all of his tech, and then stop it completely. He doesn't get any more Colossus, any more Stargate stuff, and just go straight up gateway pressure to deal with his opponent or keep their harass on.
I like it. Jim, instead of trying to play the waiting game with MacSed, who likes to go double robo, is well aware of how MacSed likes to approach this matchup, and he's going to try to see if he can catch his opponent while he's weakest here in the production cycle. He's going to try to even quarter Jim, maybe section off some units and focus him down with the Void Rays. But the Mothership Core's Photon Overcharge will push back Jim ever so slightly, but the Time Warp will catch some of the units, and now the full engagement.
Oh, God. And all the anti-air is being taken out. Void Rays now focusing on the Colossus. They go down so very fast. Stalkers are next in line, and the 3 Void Rays are still there. GG!